Right. Okay. All right. So, welcome back to Tefilah. We've finished Lachadodi, and so I was thinking about what we would do, and this is a sort of a one-off, really, because I'm going to be away for the next couple of weeks. So I thought, what can we do as a one-off? And I didn't really know. And then just by chance, nothing is by chance, of course,
That's what
but
it says.
by chance, HaKadosh Baruch Hu threw this my way. As some of you know, I go out running. And when I go out running, I listen to stuff on audio things and podcasts. And I was listening to a podcast by Rabbi Aubrey Hirsch from the JLE. Um, and those of you who don't know Rabbi Aubrey Hirsch, you should get to know him. Absolute genius. His subject is Jewish history, and his knowledge is absolutely amazing. And he's got a podcast called History for the Curious. Any of you who've listened to any of those, they're about 20, 25 minutes long each one. There's 179 of them, I think, maybe a bit more now. And there's plenty there to listen to. Around about number 17 was where I was up to this week. I started at the beginning and I've got to about number 17. And this turned out to be about Tefilah and about a controversial aspect of Tefilah, which I found really, really interesting and I want to share with you. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to do something which is quite remarkable in terms of the way Tefilah has developed in certain ways. So let me start by asking you this question. Let me just find the right place here. Right, I've got the place there for when we get to it. Anybody in your siddurim? I don't know if some of your siddurim will have it at the end of Shacharit. After Shacharit, you will see. We've got it here in the Rinat Yisrael sefer that we use in shul.
After Shacharis, in the week.
Yeah, after Shacharis weekday, page 123, Goldie. It's the 13 principles of faith. Right? Maimonides' 13 principles of faith. Okay, now I'd like you please to turn to, if you've got it in your Siddurim, it's usually at the end of Shacharit. After Shacharit, there are various things that one says, and this is one of them. Page 123, Philip, in your book there.
No, it's not.
It's not. Oh, I see. It's on 127. So
I've got it in 123 in mine. You've got it in 127 in yours. Okay, that's interesting.
Yes.
Oh, that's because I've got Ashkenaz here.
Right.
No, I've got it on
13 articles of the Creed. Okay, so Paul's got 13 articles of the Creed. Yud Gimel Ikarim. You got it now, Philip?
Yeah.
Okay.
Principles. Principles.
Yeah. So Rambam says 13 principles of faith. Right. I'd like you to read for me or translate for me this. We're on Hey. Look at number 5. Ani ma'amin. I believe. Be'emunah shelema. With complete faith. Shehabore. That the Creator, Yitbarach Shemo, may his name be blessed. Lo levado.
It's not low.
No. Lo with a vav.
him.
Lo.
Is it low?
To him. Lo.
And to him only.
To him and to him only. Is that what it says there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lo levado. To him only. Ra'ui.
His word.
Is it fitting?
Yeah.
Lehit palel.
To die.
To pray. Ve'ein ra'ui.
And it's not fit
And it's not fitting. Lehit palel.
to die.
To pray. Lezulato. To any other being. All right. Now, is that okay? That's the Rambam. Is that fairly clear, do you think? Pretty unequivocal, wouldn't you say? It is only fitting to daven to Hashem and not to any other being. Okay, so who can think of a tefillah that we do where we might be in conflict with the Rambam's fifth, the end of Slichas. Go on. Okay, well, slow down, Lionel. I want you to say this very as clearly and as loudly as you possibly can, because this is absolutely spot on. Okay, Lionel has said that at the end of Slichos, which I gave him a bit of a clue by giving out the Slichos books, but well done, Lionel. In the end of Slichos, in a beautiful prayer, which maybe Philip, you know a tune for, Machnise Rachamim. There's quite a lot of famous songs. Machnise Rachamim. If you're in this brown Rinat Yisrael that I've just given out here, it's on page. Well, it's on lots of them because it's towards the end of all of the Slichos. It's on page 44 here. But you'll find it if you've got a Slichot book at the end of every day of Slichot, just before Shomei Yisrael, right towards the end of Slichot. By this time, we're fed up and we're not really paying much attention. But this is a very, very beautiful prayer. Let's have a look at it in Machnise Rachamim. Let's go through it. Let's go through it slowly. Machnise Rachamim. What does that mean?
Those who inculcate mercy.
Inculcate? Lahachnis. What's lahachnis mean? To enter or to bring. Actually, lahachnis is not to enter. Lehikanes is to enter. Lahachnis is.
This verse there.
Let me show you. Here. Machnise Rachamim.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Lahachnis means to bring something in.
Yeah.
Ani machnis et hakisei letoch betnei knesset. I bring it in, okay? Machnis. So Machnise Rachamim are those who bring in. Usher in. Usher in. That's a good description. Rachamim. Mercy. Those who bring in mercy.
To inculcate means to teach, and
that's not what it means.
Okay,
that's not what it means. That's why I corrected you. It's not to inculcate. It's not teaching here. This is machnise. This is carrying in. Those who carry in mercy, those who bring in mercy, hachnisu rachamenu. Bring our mercies. So we're asking something who is responsible for bringing out the mercy and bringing in the mercy to bring some mercy for us. Remember, what is this prayer that we're doing? Slichot. We're asking for forgiveness. We're asking for mercy, right? Let's go on. And where's he going to bring this mercy of ours? Lifnei Baal Harachamim. Before the Baal, the master of mercy. So who are we talking to here? No, we're not. Who are we talking to? Yeah. Who are these Machnise Rachamim?
An intermediate, it said in that scroll.
Intermediaries.
Yeah.
Intermediaries, okay. Intermediaries or angels.
No.
No, Hannah? So who are these?
We're talking to God.
No, we're not. No, we're not. We're not talking to God. Doesn't make any sense. God is the Baal Harachamim. And anyway, Machnise are plural. So there you've got a problem. We're definitely not talking to God. We are talking to either intermediaries or angels. We're talking
angels.
All right, angels. Okay, we're talking to angels.
God's messengers.
God, okay, well, we'll come to maybe. Machnise Rachamim, those who bring in Rachamim, Hachnisu Rachamenu, bring in our mercies, Lifnei Baal Rachamim, before the God of mercy, the Master of mercies. Mashmi'ei Tefilah. Now, what does that mean? Mashmi'ei Tefilah.
You listen to. Please listen to.
Whoa. One at a time.
Those who have people listen to their prayer.
Those who have people listen to their prayers. I'm not quite sure what that means.
Chazanim, Baalei Tefilah.
No.
People have good
Those who make our prayers heard.
Doesn't mean please listen
Okay,
to.
that's a good way of translating it. Those who make our prayers heard. Okay, again, it's a causative form, like machnise.
Who makes our prayers heard?
No, we're not
Baalei
talking
Tefilah,
about the Baalei Tefilah. We're not talking about the Baalei Tefilah here. Mashmi'ei Tefilah, those who make our prayers heard. We do the praying, and this prayer, Machnise Rachamim, is talking to the angels. It's the angels who take hold of the prayers and make them heard. Hashmiu Tefilatenu, make our prayers heard. Okay? Lifnei Shomea Tefilah, before the one who hears Tefilah. So it's clearly not talking to God. We're talking to intermediaries, angels, not the Chazanim. Although the Chazanim are intermediaries. But here we're definitely talking to celestial intermediaries. We're talking to angels. Mashmi'ei Tza'aka, those who make our cries heard. Hashmiu Tza'akatenu, let them make our cries heard. Lifnei Shomea Tza'aka, the one before the one who hears the crying. I didn't have time because I've been very busy this evening, but I wanted to find you on YouTube a piece of music, because there are many Chazanim who do a beautiful piece for Machnise Rachamim. When we're finished, maybe we'll try and find it when we're finished if we've got time. But it's worth listening to, because I can't sing it for you because obviously I'm useless at singing. But it's in my head. I can certainly, I can hear the Chazanim saying, and it's done with like a sort of soulful wailing sort of tune, because we are imploring the angels. Let's go on. Machnise Dim'ah, those who bring in a tear. Hachnisu dimotenu, bring in our tears. Lifnei melech mitratzeh b'dima'ot, in front of the king who is partial, or is appeased by, or accepts our tears. Hishtadlu, v'harbu, and increase. Tchina, supplication, ubakasha, and request. Lifnei melech el uram v'nisa, before the most high and mighty God. So we're not praying to God, we're praying to God's intermediaries to intermediate. No, that's not the right word. To mediate on our behalf.
We are at a serious disadvantage. We don't know how God has organized his world up there. And we don't know what the natural process of things is normally. Therefore, this may all be part of the system normally. Like you have a judge and lawyers and whatever in a court representing people. I don't know how we don't know how it's all organized up there, and how he actually comes to hear what we pray. Now, we have one advantage, and it says that God directly listens to Am Yisrael, whereas the other nations have representatives. But in a large sense, we don't know how it works.
Well, the Rambam seems to know, because the Rambam says, I'll say it again for you, Ani ma'amin be'emunah shlema shehaboreh yitbarach shemo lo levado ra'ui litpahel. Only to him and no one else. Ve'ein ra'ui litpahel lezulato. It's very clear the Rambam does not approve. Not only does he not approve, it's one of the 13 principles that we do not pray to anything else other than God, not to angels, and it's deliberate.
But what it reminds
I don't care what
me
you say,
of,
Hannah. I don't care what you say. The Rambam is against davening to angels. That's all we need to know for now.
But wait a second. Take the custom of going to Kivrei Tzadikim.
Exactly. Exactly,
It's wrong.
exactly. Take the example of going to Kivrei Tzadikim, which is
Idol
very
worship.
problematic.
Pray
Right,
to the
I'm sorry, I'm muting you, Hannah, because I want to get on. I've heard what you've got to say. I understand what you've got to say, but the Rambam doesn't agree, and I want to get through what I want to tell you. Okay, you'll see, if you just be a little patient, you'll see that we will come full circle. Right, so the Rambam has got a big problem, and therefore, most people who hold by the Rambam would have a problem with this prayer. Now, would it surprise you all to know that there is a massive discussion amongst Rishonim about this prayer of Machnise Rachamim? Right? The Rambam doesn't approve of it. The Yerushalmi, Maharal, and Rambam. The Gemara Yerushalmi, I've got it all written down here where I've just got to find the right bit. Here we are. Here's my source sheet. Right. So just to crystallize the Rambam for you. In Mishnah Torah, Hilchot Avodah Zarah, written by the Rambam, Ikara Chamishi, as we've said, Shaharui le'avdo hu ha'el levado. It is fitting to serve him, God alone. Velo l'shum emtsa'i, and not to any, what's emtsa?
The middle.
The middle, into no intermediary. No intermediary. And then he's explicit, the Rambam. Lo lemalach, not to an angel. Velo legalgal, and not to a what's the word? Reincarnation, spirit. Velo lekochav, and not to a star. Right? It is fitting to serve God alone and not any intermediary, not an angel, not a constellation. That's what Galgal is apparently, or a star. So, according to the Rambam, addressing angels in prayer is theologically forbidden. Asur. Okay? Even if you believe God is supreme. The Rambam says, now he doesn't just wake up one day and say this. It comes from the Yerushalmi. The Yerushalmi in Brachot, you want to look it up, it's Tet Amud Aleph in the Yerushalmi, says as follows. Im ba'u tzarot al adam. If chas v'chalila, trouble comes upon a person, lo yitzak, he should not cry out, lo leMichael, velo leGavriel.
Oh, to the angels.
He should not call out
Archangels.
to the angels, right? But Ella leYotzro, rather to the one who created him, right? So the Yerushalmi explicitly forbids calling on angels by name, even great angels like Gabriel and Michael. Okay, the Maharal says, the Maharal objected to this Machnise Rachamim, and he rewrote the whole text. If you look in the Machzor of the Maharal, it addresses God, and it doesn't say Machnise Rachamim, it says Yachnis Rachamim. He should, Yachnis in the singular, and it's a prayer. May he bring in mercy. So the whole prayer, according to the Maharal, is out. Okay. So, of course, like all good Jewish discussions, there's another side to it. Okay.
Who wrote the prayer, Johnny?
Who wrote the prayer? Good question. I don't know, but it's very old.
Okay. Good answer as well.
But we'll come to who wrote various prayers towards the end. So, interestingly, now the Khatam Sofer, which is much later, he did not publicly forbid the prayer of Machnise Rachamim. But what he would do, he would schlep out his slichot, so that when the Kehillah was saying Machnim, remember it's right towards the end, right? He was still behind, and therefore he never said it. The Khatam Sofer never said. He didn't publicly he didn't publicly ban it. He would deliberately prolong slichot so that by the time the congregation reached Machnise Rachamim, it was skipped. Okay. Now, there are people who permit the idea and give us precedent. Now, okay, Hannah, now you can unmute yourself now, Hannah, and you can give me some examples of what you might put forward to counter-argument this and to say that it's permitted to pray to angels.
I actually don't counter-argument it because I agree with the Rambam. And I've always found the tradition, especially amongst Sephardi Judaism, of going to Kivrei Tzadikim and asking the tzaddik for things. Why are you asking the tzaddik for things when it's God who decides? So the answer is that I'm given is no. We're asking that God give it in b'schut, in merit of the tzaddik's good deeds. So I don't have a problem with the Rambam. I have a problem with the other side.
Okay, that's good. I'll come to you in a sec, Jeff. Let me just deal with Hannah's point there because it's a very, very important point. Those people that go to Kivrei Tzadikim to Daven are on a very thin line. Okay, and it's very easy to cross that line from doing something very good to doing something completely bad. Now, those that go to Kivrei Tzadikim to Daven, and I'm not singling out any particular group, but there are those that do it a lot and those that do it and don't do it at all. Those that go to Kivrei Tzadikim, if they are davening to the tzaddik, for them to have the tzaddik to do a miracle for them, right, whatever it is, that is avodah zarah. That is what the Rambam is talking about. That is exactly what the Rambam is talking about. If, however, a person is going to Kivrei Tzadikim to daven in order that the tzaddik should be what we call a melitz yosher, a good interceder. In other words, if I wanted to, let's say I was in school, in class, and I was not a particularly well-behaved child. I was actually, but let's say I wasn't.
I wasn't.
Right? And I wanted to get something from the teacher. I wanted us to be able to finish 10 minutes early so that we could go and watch the football or wherever, okay? I wouldn't go and ask the teacher myself because the teacher would not be very well inclined to me because I wasn't very well behaved. However, what I might do is go to the teacher's pet, the SWAT, and say, Yankel, why don't you go and ask the teacher if we can go 10 minutes early? He might listen to you, right? That is what we are doing when we go to Kivrei Tzadikim, and when we invoke the tzaddik to help us bring our prayer to a Kodesh Baruch Hu. But if, as I firmly believe there are many who do, they go to Kivrei Tzadikim to daven to the tzaddik, for the tzaddik to do Yeshuas, right? You've seen it in the magazines that offer, paid tzedakah to this tzedakah, and these people will go to the grave of so-and-so and ask for Yeshuas. It's avodah zarah. And that the Rambam is very clear about it. So we've cleared that up. I'm not saying you shouldn't go to Kivrei Tzadikim. If that's what you want to do, then, you could do it. However, you've got to be very, very careful. Jeff, you wanted to say something. Speak up so that they can hear.
Kind of, I don't know, there's a midrash or something where, or even stuff, I don't know, but where someone goes to the caves of Avram and Moshe Yitzchak. What was that?
Kalev. You're thinking of Kalev.
Yeah,
Kalev, when he was one of the spies, and when he entered the land, he first of all went to Hebron to daven at the cave of Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And he davened there, we're told there, that he davened there so that he should be given strength like they had to resist the persuasions of the other spies. Okay, so it's famous midrash. You're right, it's a midrash. Rashi quotes that midrash, and again, if it's about it's very nuanced, very nuanced. I've got a picture in my house. It's a beautiful picture. It's a picture of my oldest son when he was, I think, 15 or 16, at the kever of the Chofetz Chaim, and he is. You can see on his face, he's clearly very, very moved by the experience of being at the kever. Dad, yeah, he was very moved. You could see it on his face. It's a really special photograph. It's a particular favorite of mine. And I'm not in favor of going to Kivrei Tzadikim, but this particular picture is a favorite of mine because I can see. And when I spoke to him afterwards, I said, what was this all about? And he said, it gave me chizuk. Here I was stood at the grave of somebody who was a great person. It gave me something to aspire to. It gave me something that I could look at and say, this is something that I can work towards. Not one moment did he, and he's even more anti-Kivrei Tzadikim than I am today, but not for one moment did he think that he was davening to the Chofetz Chaim. Right? It gave him chizuk, and that's absolutely fine. Those people that go to Kever Rachel and daven there and it gives them chizuk, that's fine. But if you're davening to Mama Rachel herself to do something for you, to make a miracle for you, then it's very problematic indeed. Okay, I think we've made that point.
Did Dan always want to be a rabbi?
I have no idea. I think he wanted to be he wanted to have a motorbike, really. That's what he really wanted to do. Okay,
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Look, I've said before, I'm 100% with the Rambam. Yeah, I'm not for going to Kivrei Tzadikim. However, my late husband's niece was married. They got married in South Africa and they came straight away to Israel. And for 2 years, she didn't get pregnant. And she was sent to Rabbi Shimon. Yeah, because Rabbi Shimon does, miracles. And they went to Rabbi Shimon and they spoke to the Rav there. And the Rav there said to them, if you undertake to call your first son Shimon, he'll come within the next year. Like this time next year, you'll have a little boy. And lo and behold, they did. And this, amongst people that I know, is not an uncommon thing with Rabbi Shimon. If they undertake to call the child Shimon, the child comes. So how do you explain that?
I don't explain it, but I do take issue with one thing that you said. Rabbi Shimon does miracles. Rabbi Shimon does miracles is a statement bordering on Avodah Zorah. That's my view. Rabbi Shimon does not do miracles. God does miracles, not Rabbi Shimon.
Dead.
Rabbi Shimon does not do miracles. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so let's look at the other side of the argument now. There are precedents within the Torah itself which seems to indicate that praying to angels is okay. Who can give me an example? I can think of two examples.
Yitzchak, wait a minute. No, Yaakov.
Go on.
Yaakov, when he wrestled with the angel.
Right, when he wrestled with the angel, that's one. When he wrestles with the angel, okay. What does he say? He says, I'm not letting you go until you give me a bracha. That's what he says.
The second one,
well, let's do one at a time. That's a bit of a problem, isn't it? According to the Rambam. He's asking the angel for a bracha. That's a prayer. You shouldn't be
ask rabbi for a bracha. You ask a rabbi for a bracha.
Well, yeah, okay. If we say that asking for a bracha is a prayer, and that's what the Rambam means, yes, we ask the Sandek for a bracha. Give me a bracha. But wait a minute. When we ask the Rav for a bracha or the Sandak for a bracha, what does a bracha say? What does the bracha say? What does the Mevarech, what does the one who's giving the bracha say? May HaKadosh Baruch Hu grant you X, Y, Z. That's a prayer that he is offering on your behalf to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You are not praying to him. There is a difference. But the second example of also with Yaakov is much more problematic, more difficult to explain away.
Also with Yaakov?
Yes, I'll give you a clue. Hamalach hagoel oti mikol ra yevarech et haniarim.
Yeah, but Hamalach hagoel osi.
Hamalach, the
It's
angel, that's what have I just said? Hamalach hagoel oti, the angel who redeemed me, yevarech, may he bless haniarim, the children. That's a direct prayer to an angel. Now, there's a big question there. Now, so how do we get around that? How do the rabbis say, I mean, because they knew that the Torah just as well as me, right? Probably a bit better even, right? Hamalach hagoel oti mikol ra, yevarech et haniarim. How's that going to go down? So what they say with that is that you've got to know and understand the grammar here. Hamalach hagoel oti mikol ra, right? The angel who's redeeming me from trouble, yevarech.
That's future.
It's a yevarech. He will bless, right? Meaning he with a capital H. It's a bit of a dray, to be honest, but that's what they say. They address the problem. The rabbis address the problem. Rabbi Akiva Eiger, for example, he says, nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it at all. Because everybody knows that you're not davening to an angel, that you're davening to Hashem. I would take issue with Rabbi Akiva Eiger, because if everybody knew it, the Rambam wouldn't need to say it, would he? He wouldn't need to put it as number 5 of his things. Now, so the consensus is that angels exist. There's the mainstream Jewish thought believes in the concept of angels, whatever they are. They also believe that they serve a Kodesh Baruch Hu. The angels, Hamalach, Malachei, what do we say? Shalom Aleichem, Malachei,
Hasharet.
Hasharet, the angels who serve. Okay, so we believe that, and we believe that angels carry out the divine will. But what we don't believe is that angels have independent powers. That's the issue here. That if our belief, and it's the same with Kivrei Tzadikim, if we believe that Rabbi Shimon or Rabbi Nachman Mendel or whoever else, or Rabbi Nachman, has independent powers to bestow brachot and to bestow miracles, that is verging on Avodah Zarah.
So, wait a minute. So does Chabad, doesn't it? I mean,
Chabad, again, Chabad is there are some in Chabad who cross the line, I've no doubt. Not everyone.
No.
Now, so let me ask you this question, and this is where we come to one of our prayers that I wanted to discuss tonight. The third stanza of Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom. No problem with that, right? As Paul said, Baruchuni l'shalom. Bless me, Malachei Hashalom. Bless me, angels. You're praying to angels. It's a big problem, according to the Rambam. Would it surprise you to know that my son, for example, misses out that verse?
Did it?
Yeah, no, he hasn't just made that up. I thought he had, actually, when I first saw it, but he hasn't. No lesser figure than Reb Moshe Feinstein, right? The great posek of the 20th century, greatest posek probably, maybe the Chofetz Chaim, the earliest 20th century, certainly the greatest posek of the late 20th century, did not sing the third verse of Shalom Aleichem
Who wrote it
at
then?
all.
Who wrote it?
Who wrote Shalom Aleichem?
Who wrote B'chani L'Shalom? Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, who wrote Shalom Aleichem? I think it was probably a Kabbalistic thing. I imagine it was a Kabbalistic
Was it
because
Shalom?
most of these things were Kabbalistic. So there are people. It's not a widespread minhag. Funnily enough, what was fascinating to me is when I was listening to this podcast from Rabbi Hirsch, the guy who sort of hosts the podcast, a guy called Rabbi Mena, can't remember his second name now, who's clearly, not anywhere near the league of Rabbi Hirsch, and I don't mean to say that disparagingly. It's just he's the host, and he's the one that's sort of just teasing out the answers. He said, "Wow, that's fascinating. I never knew this. Why? My father always missed out the third verse, the third stanza of Shalom Aleichem. We never sang it at home," he said. And until this podcast, and he was hosting it, he had no idea why. It was really interesting, really interesting.
So
So
what's the reason why?
that's the reason, because it's asking the angels to bless you. And according to the Rambam, it's not allowed. And so it became a very this Shalom Aleichem became a very controversial, back in the day, became a very controversial prayer. So that brings us to another controversial prayer along the same lines, which is Baruch Shemay. Baruch Shemay. When do we say Baruch Shemay, everyone? Benshi?
No.
Shabbat morning before the Sefer Torah.
When you take out the steak.
When you take out the Torah. What did you just say, Johnny, please?
On Shabbat morning when we take the Sefer Torah.
Johnny Halpin says on Shabbat morning when we take out the Sefer Torah. Okay, all right. Paul says the Singer's prayer book doesn't have it for the weekdays. But do we say it during the week?
Yeah.
Doing your shul, which is your shul? Snack. Is snack based on Nusach Ashkenaz? Rinat Yisrael. Okay, so it's not Nusach Anglia then, is it? Okay, so we're going to talk about Nusach Anglia. You happen to know, I'm sure by now, that I am a big fan, and I have a huge part in my heart for Minhag Anglia and Nusach Anglia, and I'm going to talk about it again tonight because it's interesting how it's developed. Because Paul is quite right that in Nusach Anglia and the Singer's prayer book, it does not have Baruch Shemay in the weekdays. Now, Lionel, I would like you to open up your 1959 Singer's prayer book. I'm out on a limb here a bit. I'd like you to turn to Shabbos morning, please, and tell me whether Baruch Shemay appears in your 1959 version of the Singer's prayer book. And I'd like you to tell me, Jeff, in your 2000 version, whether it is there. I know the answer to that. It's there. Now, I'm interested to know, Lionel, whether it's there in 1959.
It may have been there.
While Lionel's doing that, can I ask you to
One
touch
second.
on something?
Say that again, Hannah.
While Lionel's looking that up, can I ask you to touch on something else also
Yes,
in the
go on.
shiur? The minhag of parents, fathers blessing their children on Shabbat.
Okay, come to that. I'll come to that. I'll come to that in a sec.
Yeah.
The Singer's prayer book says,
Okay, what? Go on.
Yes, because I never remember.
Okay, by 1959, in 1959 version of the Singer's prayer book, it says, in some congregations, the following is said.
It's there.
I never remember.
And what does it say in?
Some.
Okay,
and in my 1970 Shapiro Valentine prayer book, David prayer book, he actually said, I looked it up before, say in an undertone.
say in an undertone. Okay, now what's interesting is it's a shame that. Oh, wait a minute. I have got. Wait a moment. Just wait a moment.
Interesting. It's in Aramaic.
An amazing rabbit out of the hat here, everyone. Because what I have here, courtesy of Beverly Bennett, I have the authorized daily prayer book, which belonged to her late husband, my lovely, lovely friend, Leon Bennett. And in the beginning, it says, to Leon, heartiest mazel tov and congratulations on your bar mitzvah, June 1948, from Uncle Reuben and Auntie Lily and Martin. Now, this is the authorized daily prayer book of the United Hebrew Congregations of the British Empire, revised edition with commentary, London, 1947. Now, I am not a betting man, but if I was, I would have a little wager that Baruch Shemay is not in the 1947 version. Let's see if I am right. Okay, Seder Kriyat HaTorah.
Is this what I bought?
On weekdays or Shabbos?
Ah.
On weekdays or
I'm
Shabbat?
wrong. Good job that I'm not a betting man. Because it says in some congregations the following is said. Okay, so I'm wrong. Okay.
That's on weekdays, Johnny, or Shabbat?
No, Shabbat. Let me tell you why I thought this wasn't going to be there. Because what Rabbi Hirsch said in this podcast was that there was a split. We need to, I suppose we really should have a look at the prayer itself, but we'll do that in a minute. Just looking at the time. There was a split amongst the communities in Europe as to who said Brit Shemay and who didn't. Western Europe, meaning Hamburg, Frankfurt, France, the Ashkenazim in Western Europe did not say Baruch Shemay. The Eastern Europeans, the Hasidim and the Eastern European Jews did say Baruch Shemay. Why would that be, do you think? Why would you think that might be? Let's have a look at the prayer.
To do with the Nusach Asbab?
It's to do, yes, it is to do with the Nusach Sfard. It's to do with the origins of Nusach Sfard. Where is the origins of Nusach Sfard? We've had this conversation. Chassidut. Yeah, and where did Chassidut arise from? From the Baal Shem Tov, yes.
Europe.
No, it did. The Chassidut, yes, it did. But the ideas of Chassidut came from the Baal Shem Tov, which came from Sfat, which came from the Kabbalists. So, Baruch Shemay is a Kabbalistic prayer from the Zohar. Now, the Ashkenazim, the Western European Ashkenazim, did not hold of the Zohar. They didn't get involved in it at all. It was too mystical for them.
The Western European, you mean you mean the Yekkers?
I mean the Ashkenazim.
Yeah,
the Ashkenazim. The Yekkers are part of the Ashkenazim.
Yeah.
The Yekkers, which were the Germans, that's where Minhag Anglia is based from Hamburg.
So they didn't go with Brit
So
Shemay.
it's the Brit Shemay is a section of the Zohar from Parshat Vayakhel. That does it say that in your siddur? Where it
Yes, it is written.
Yes, it does. Okay,
Yeah.
right. Okay, I bet you never knew that,
Zohar
did you?
Vayakhel. It's written Zohar Vayakhel.
Right. How many times have we all said Baruch Shemay and we have no idea that it came from the Zohar and Vayah, and it's written there for us? How many times must we have seen that with our eyes and not actually known it? I didn't know it either. So it comes from the Zohar, but that explains why the Western European Jews did not say it. And that explains why it was not originally in Minhag Anglia. And that's why it was not said during the week or originally on Shabbat in Minhag Anglia. Now, the reason I thought that it would not be in this is because Rabbi Hirsch said that, it sort of fits a bit, that it got introduced into the Nusach of Anglia by Chazanim after the war, and I suppose maybe even before the war when
The Second World War.
and before the war when there were refugees, many Eastern European Chazanim found their way to England, right? To Western Europe and to England particularly, and they would get a job in the shul in wherever. And they were used to singing. And a chazan, as you know, Philip will tell you this, a chazan never misses an opportunity to sing, right? Okay, they never miss an opportunity to geschrei, and so they introduced. This is what Rabbi Hirsch said on this podcast. Really fascinating. They started to introduce it on a Shabbos morning, because it was a nice tune, a nice song.
My dad.
Right. So where was your dad from originally?
Dad was from Galicia.
There we go.
He was a chassid.
And where was he? Where was he a chazan?
He was about to.
Where was he about tefillah?
In the Yekische Stiebel.
In
London.
In London.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect example.
Yeah.
That same for Anabakar, the same for Hadadi, which everyone seems to say.
Anabakach, yes. Also Kabbalistic. All the Kabbalistic stuff.
There's all the things that I'm not used to saying. I'm saying here.
Yeah, because you're not used to saying them. You're not used to saying them, Jeff, because you're used to Minhag Anglia, which is based on Hamburg, which is, I won't say anti-Kabbalistic, but did not inculcate the Kabbalistic pieces of davening into their siddur. And that's why you're not used to them. I was used to them because I wasn't used to them before I got married. Before I got married, I davened in the United Synagogue, and it was exactly the same, stuff as you. But when I got married, I started to daven in a Vishnitzer Stiebel. So I got to know all of these things back in England. But anybody who was still davening, as it were, Minhag Anglia, Nusach Anglia, with the Singer's Prayer Book as their guide, will not have known these things. Certainly not during the week. Why on Shabbos and not during the week then?
This is
The
what time
Chazan never
happens.
sang it. The Chazan never sang it during the week. He's in
During the
right. The Chazan didn't daven during the week. He only sang it on Shabbos. And so the English folk, or the Minhag Anglia folk, thought or assumed or whatever, it's a Shabbos Dika prayer, right? So it was do it on Shabbos, and that's why it says in some congregations the following is said. It seems that by 1947 it had already crept in. Very fascinating. Okay, because you need to know what this is all about. Now let's have a look at the. Let's have a look at this.
I got nobody to ask anymore. Who's alive, who would remember, but I'm sure.
Okay, have a look down. Have a look in here. Now we've got a translation here in the Singer's Prayer Book, which has corrected the problem that Brit Shemay was problematic about. Go to the part in Brit Shemay which begins. Lo al enash rachitzna. You got it? It's about halfway through, just over halfway through. Right? Okay. Lo al enash rachitzna.
You shouldn't depend.
Go on, what does it say?
On human.
Not enosh means human.
Yeah.
Not on humans do I trust.
Yeah.
Velo al bar elahin samichna.
Do I rely?
Go on. What does that mean? Velo
and not on
bar Elohim. What's bar mean? Son. Bar means son. Wait. Worse than that, Lionel. Bar means son. Yes.
Yeah.
Bar is Aramaic for ben.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What's the Arabic for ben?
Bin.
Ibn.
Yeah.
IBN. Ibn. Right. So you get so and so Ibn so and so. Right.
Yeah.
In Hebrew we have Yosef Moshe ben Peretz. Right. In Aramaic it would be Bar.
Yeah.
Bar, son of. Right. Now, velo al bar Elohim, and not on the Son of God do we rely. That is a very problematic statement. Yeah, we don't rely on him, right? We can't call him on a Sunday morning at 10 o'clock because he's not reliable, right? Doesn't say it doesn't exist. This was a very, very controversial statement, pasuk, right? There was uproar about this pasuk, La al bar Elohim, and many people believed that this was sort of it crept in from Christianity.
Yeah.
It's got a smack of Christianity. Lo el bar Elohim samichta. Not on the. We don't rely on the Son of God. The Son of God exists. But
Son
we
of
just
God is Jesus.
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Quick, isn't
He's
it?
good, he's good, isn't he? Right. Exactly.
Sounds
So this was a very, and so if you look at
Or
the
as we call him, Yoshki.
and then it goes on to say, Ella be'ela hadishmaya, only in God in heaven, right? Only in God in heaven, right? Now,
Ella doesn't mean only.
Ella means rather. It means
Yes, yes.
rather. In other words, not that, but that.
Yeah.
So the problem, lo al bar elahin samichnon, was too close to the bone. It was too close to sort of even a sort of a schmeck, a sniff
Yes.
of accepting that there was a Son of God.
Yes.
Whether he's reliable or he's not reliable,
Yeah.
there's an implication there that some people saw. Right? And it was a very, very controversial prayer, this. The Chafetz Chaim himself did not say this prayer. But he didn't say it for a completely different reason. Have a look a little bit further up.
Translated differently.
Of course. Oh, yeah. By the way, yeah, we must finish that off. It's translated differently, not as the Son of God, as, not even that. Bar, yeah, a bar can also mean excluding. So lo al bar Elohim, we don't rely on anyone except God. So they're using the translation of bar as except, but that doesn't make sense because then it goes on to say Ella, which means except. So it's a bit of a dray, and it's a dray for a good reason. And the reason that translation was put in there, like it is because this was so controversial. This statement in there. Now, for these reasons, the Zohar is full of all this. I mean, Hannah knows more about the Zohar than I do, but it's full of stuff which is difficult to understand. It's possible to misunderstand. And the Ashkenazim in Western Europe didn't want anything to do with it. Not that they said it wasn't right or anything. It wasn't their bag, as it were. So all these Kabbalistic prayers, Baruch Shemei was a Kabbalistic prayer. Ana B'Koach is a Kabbalistic prayer. The Shalom Aleichem, I'm sure, is got those roots as well. They weren't keen on those things at all. Now let's just tell you what the Chafetz Chaim would not say Baruch Shemei, and he wouldn't say it for a completely different reason. What was the Chafetz Chaim, apart from not speaking Lashon Hara? What was his overriding trait? If I would say to you, the Chafetz Chaim, give me one midah of the Chafetz Chaim that stands out.
I mean, humility.
Humility. Thank you, Hannah. Beautiful. Humility. Go a bit further up in this prayer.
He was a misnagid also.
And what does it say? It says, Ana Avada de Kudesha Berichu. We sing a song of it, don't we? Ana Avada de Kudesho, right? It's the go on.
The Kudesha Berichu.
Yeah. So Ana Av, what does that mean? Ana Avda.
I
am a servant.
Yeah.
The Kudesha Berichu
Of
the Holy One, blessed be He.
Yeah.
The Chafetz Chaim says, I can't say that.
Because he was so
Because he was so modest.
Yeah.
He said, I can't say that. I can't say that I am a servant of the. I'm not. I don't behave like a servant of the. I don't behave well enough to be a servant of the Holy One, blessed be He. So he wouldn't say the Baruch Shemei. Really fascinating. So what we see here is that we've got done Machnise Rachamim. Let's just have a look over here. So what we find here is that there are family anecdotal customs, like Rabbi Mena, whatever his name is, whose name I can't remember, who said, well, I don't know why, but my father never ever said that. Reb Moshe Feinstein never said it, and presumably his father never said it. So there are family anecdotal customs which are based on machloket and controversy about the prayers themselves. The Rambam's principle, which is against intermediary prayers, conflicts with Machnise Rachamim. And people such as the Khatam Sofer, although he didn't ban it, didn't say it. The Maharal banned it. The Yerushalmi is clear and says you don't daven to angels. So it's Kabbalistic origins, and it's this controversial line that I do not rely on the Son of God, which has been interpreted in various ways, leaves us with the idea that, I tell you how it leaves me the idea. First of all, it opens a huge load of vistas to me and think, wow, I think that's amazing. These are prayers here. We don't know the origins of them properly. I mean, Rabbi Hirsch does. He's just a genius, and it's certainly worth listening to. He doesn't just talk about Tefilah. This just happened to be one little section. He did 3 podcasts on controversial prayers. At the moment, he's talking about the early origins of where I'm up to. He's talking about the early origins of American Jewry, the first Jew in America, the first Jewish state person who was an American citizen, the first Jewish spy. Fascinating stuff, really fascinating. But what it opens to me with Tefilah, meaning that we are saying stuff, we're saying it with not knowing where it's come from, not knowing its origin. And we can't do it with every single prayer. We've said this before, we can't say Shemona Esrei the way we've learned it over how many hours, I don't know, 20 hours or something. We can't do that every time. But if we can just get an idea, just a sniff of the history that is behind these prayers and the blood, sweat, and tears that people have put into either saying it or not saying it, I think it gives them much more meaning, much more value. Even if you don't understand the words so much, even if you can't really grasp the concept, just knowing that our people for centuries, millennia, have been saying these things, or dafka not saying these things. You can dafka not say something and get something out of it. I'm masupak now whether I should say this 3rd verse of Baruch Huni, Shalom. I don't know now. I'm not decided what I'm going to do. I don't have to say it because my parents didn't say it at all. My family never said, anyone here? Did you sing Shalom Aleichem as you will have done? Yeah.
Wasn't that unlucky?
No, it wasn't. There wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing in Minhag Anglia, was it? It wasn't a thing. Why wasn't it a thing? Probably because it was of Kabbalistic origin. So it's a fascinating subject, the origin of Tefilah. So I wanted to share all that with you because I enjoyed that podcast so much. And I hope that I've been able to give you a little taste of it. If you want to listen to it proper, as it were, one sec, Hannah. If you want to listen to it proper, I'm going to, Bli Neder, send a link on our Tefilah group to this particular episode of the podcast. And then you can listen to it in your own time. Yes, Hannah?
Yeah. Yes, please.
I'm still confused about why it is such a prevalent thing in Judaism to give brachot.
Okay, yeah, I promised you that. Fathers blessing their children. Because we are blessing, what do we say? We say, Yisimecha. Thank you. Yisimecha Elohim. May God bless you. It's a prayer to God. Nothing wrong with that, right? The problem, right? And then you say, Yisimecha Elohim Kefraim Menashe Yevarechacha. May He bless you with a capital H. Right, we're playing to God. That's a perfectly acceptable type of prayer when we're praying that God should do something. May God give you hamakom yenachem etchem. May hamakom, God, the place, right, the one we call makom. May He comfort you, right? The problem is when we use, according to the Rambam, is when we use intermediaries, and I guess you have to understand the Rambam in its context. Because the Rambam was living in Muslim society, and Muslim society believed very strongly in the Prophet Muhammad being exactly that, an intermediary to Allah. Okay, so I'm guessing that the Rambam is particularly hot on that because of that. Rashi, on the other hand, you would expect Rashi to be even more anti, because Rashi lived in Catholic France at the time of the Crusades, where, the Son of God is all over the place. So it's very interesting that, nothing happens in a vacuum, right? I know that phrase has become a bit tainted in modern times, but it's true. Nothing happens in a vacuum. Prayers don't exist in a vacuum. They don't develop in a vacuum. They develop out of historical context, and that's what makes it all so fascinating.
Also, this shiur in particular gives an insight into why Western Europe was so, you can't learn Kabbalah until you're 40 and you've learned a lot of Torah and you're steeped in Torah, because, as you say, we don't understand exactly what all the nuances are behind the prayers, and Western Europe was very frightened of people misunderstanding the prayers and going off the track.
That's true, and there's also something else, but a bit later on, and the why Western Europe actually dug its heels in even more, because of Shabtai Tzvi. Remember, Shabtai Tzvi, the false Messiah, was in the 16th century, and thereafter. Of course, he was Kabbalistic to the extreme, wasn't he? That's what I mean.
He converted.
Until he converted to Islam, yeah. So it was all very much, whoa, we won't have anything to do with all of that stuff. So yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. They were frightened. Right. I will see you all, Bezrat Hashem, in a few weeks' time. 3 weeks from today. I hope to be back.
You have to pray to God that you win the next two.
Yeah, don't pray to anyone else, because nobody else can help.
They're going to wipe the floor with you.
They've already wiped the floor with us. It's too late.
The worst team in history.
I know.
Enjoy it, Johnny. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.